The human ship, Aurora Dawn, moved slowly through the dark space near the edge of known maps. It was a medium-sized exploration vessel, with smooth white hulls and bright blue engine lights. Inside, most of the crew felt nervous. They had come to this area to study new stars, but now alarms rang softly on every deck. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge with his arms crossed. He was a tall man with short brown hair and calm green eyes. He spoke in a steady voice. "Status report." A young officer at the console answered quickly. "Sir, we have 12 large alien ships closing fast. They match the profile of the Talith Dominion. No weapons locked yet, but they are surrounding us." Daniel nodded. "Open a channel. Let's talk before they decide to shoot." On the main screen, the view changed. A huge alien face appeared. The being was tall, with smooth iridescent skin that shifted between deep blue and silver. Its eyes were large compound eyes like those of an insect, made of many small parts that sparkled. This was Queen Vera, ruler of the Caliph. Her voice came through the translator in clear but cold English. "Humans, you have entered restricted space. State your purpose or leave." Daniel stepped forward. "We are explorers from Earth. We mean no harm. Our mission is science, mapping stars, and learning about the galaxy. We did not know this was your territory. We ask for peaceful passage, and maybe a chance to talk." The Queen's compound eyes moved slightly, studying him. After a long pause, she spoke again. "Very well, we will allow one meeting. Send your representatives to our flagship. Come unarmed, bring no more than 6. We will decide your fate after." The screen went dark. Daniel turned to his crew. "I need volunteers. Engineering insight might help if they ask technical questions. Ethan Brooks, you're coming. Your knowledge of reactors could be useful." Ethan Brooks was a quiet engineer in his early 30s. He had dark hair, kind brown eyes, and always wore a simple gray jumpsuit. He was good with machines, but even better with people. Most important, he had his 6-year-old daughter Lily with him on the ship. Lily was small, with curly blonde hair and big blue eyes. Her mother had died 2 years earlier, so Ethan never left her alone if he could help it. The sudden mission had no time for childcare, so she stayed close to him every day. Ethan looked surprised. "Me, Captain? I'm just an engineer." "You're calm under pressure," Daniel said. "That's what we need. And bring Lily if you must. She's small. They won't see her as a threat." Ethan glanced down at Lily. She held his hand tightly and looked up at him with complete trust. "Okay," he said. "We'll come." A small shuttle left the Aurora Dawn and flew toward the massive Caliph flagship. The alien ship was enormous, shaped like a long crystal spear, with glowing purple lines running along its sides. Inside the hangar, the air felt cool and smelled faintly of metal and strange flowers. Guards met them, tall Caliph in silver armor with long spears that hummed with energy. They led the humans down wide halls with walls that shimmered like water. Everything looked clean and perfect, but also cold. They entered a huge chamber. The ceiling was high and curved, with soft violet light coming from floating orbs. At the far end sat Queen Vera on a tall throne made of dark crystal. She wore a flowing robe that changed color slowly. Next to her stood Princess Lyra, her daughter. Lyra was younger, maybe 16 in human years, with brighter green skin and curious eyes. The humans walked forward and stopped a respectful distance away. Queen Vera spoke first. "Humans, you claim peace. Prove it. Share your knowledge of faster-than-light travel. In return, we may let you leave." Captain Daniel began to explain basic principles. Ethan listened quietly, holding Lily's hand. Lily stood very still beside her father. She did not look around at the big room, the glowing lights, or the tall aliens. Her eyes stayed fixed on Ethan. She watched his face, the way he stood, the small movements of his hands. Sometimes he smiled a tiny smile, just for him. Princess Lyra noticed first. She tilted her head and watched the little girl. In Caliph society, children belonged to the whole hive. They were raised by groups of nurses, not by one parent. No child stared at one person like that. It seemed strange. Queen Vera continued the talk. She asked sharp questions about energy cores and safety systems. Ethan answered when Daniel looked at him. His voice was clear and patient. He explained how human reactors used a special containment field to stay safe. While he spoke, Lily never took her eyes off him. Even when the Queen raised her voice a little, Lily did not flinch or look away. She just held Ethan's hand tighter and kept watching him like he was the only thing in the universe that mattered. One of the guards shifted, uncomfortable. Princess Lyra whispered something to her mother. Queen Vera glanced down at the child for the first time. She saw it then, the small human girl staring only at her father. Not at the throne, not at the guards, not at the beautiful lights or the Queen's own powerful presence. Only at Ethan. The Queen felt something odd inside her chest. It was not anger. It was confusion. In her long life, she had ruled millions. She had seen fear, respect, obedience. But this quiet, complete attention from a child to one man, it made no sense in her world. She spoke directly to Ethan, her voice a little softer. "Your young one. She looks at you and nothing else. Why?" Ethan smiled gently. He knelt so he was at Lily's level and brushed a curl from her face. "She's my daughter. I'm her dad. She knows I'm here for her. That's all." The word dad did not translate perfectly in her mind. Caliph had no such role. Queens laid eggs in batches. Workers raised the young together. Loyalty went to the hive, to the Queen above all. A single person could not hold all of another's trust like that. Lily looked up at Ethan again. She whispered very quietly, "You're doing good, Daddy." Ethan kissed the top of her head. "Thanks, sweetheart." Queen Vera watched the small moment. Her compound eyes changed color slowly, from blue to soft gold, then back. She did not understand it yet, but something inside her shifted just a little. The meeting continued for another hour. They talked about engines, stars, and borders. But every few minutes, the Queen's gaze returned to the little girl who never looked anywhere but at her father. When the talks ended, the humans were allowed to return to their shuttle. As they walked out, Princess Lyra followed a few steps behind. She kept watching Lily. The child still held Ethan's hand and looked only at him. Queen Vera stayed on her throne after they left. She sat in silence for a long time. The guards waited quietly. Finally, she spoke to no one in particular. "Why does the child do that? Why only him?" No one answered. They did not know. Outside in the shuttle, Ethan sat with Lily on his lap. She rested her head on his shoulder and closed her eyes, happy and safe. Ethan looked out the window at the stars. He did not know it yet, but that simple bond between him and his daughter had just planted a small seed of wonder in the mind of a powerful alien queen. The two ships stayed close in space. The alliance was not sealed, but it was not broken either. And somewhere in the huge Caliph flagship, Queen Vera kept thinking about a pair of small blue eyes that saw only one person in the whole wide galaxy. The next few days passed slowly between the two ships. The Aurora Dawn stayed close to the giant Caliph flagship. No one fired weapons, no one ran away. Instead, small teams from both sides met to share knowledge. Humans showed how their engines worked. Caliph showed their strange crystal drives that bent light itself. Ethan Brooks spent most of his time in a large workroom on the alien ship. The room had high walls made of smooth black stone and bright purple lights that floated in the air. Long tables held pieces of machines, glowing screens, and tools that looked like glass needles. Ethan worked side by side with Caliph engineers. They were tall and quiet, with skin that changed color when they thought hard. Lily stayed in a small side room next to the workroom. The Caliph called it an observation lounge. It had soft seats, a big window looking into the main workroom, and a few toys the humans had brought from their ship. The aliens said children were not dangerous, so Lily could stay close. A single guard stood outside the door, but he never came in. Every morning, Ethan kissed Lily's forehead and said, "Stay here and be good, okay? I'll be right through that window." Lily always nodded and smiled. "Okay, Daddy." Then she sat on the soft floor or a chair and watched him work. She never played with the toys for long. After a few minutes, her eyes went back to her father. She watched him pick up tools. She watched him point at diagrams on the big screens. She watched him talk slowly so the aliens could understand. Sometimes she whispered his name like a secret, "Daddy." Sometimes she smiled when he laughed at something small. Princess Lyra came to the lounge often. She was curious about humans. She stood near the window with her arms folded and watched everything. At first she watched Ethan and the other humans, but soon she noticed Lily most of all. The little girl never looked at Lyra, not once. She did not look at the pretty purple lights. She did not look at the tall guards with their shining spears. She did not even look at Queen Vera when the queen walked past the door one time. Lily's blue eyes stayed on Ethan, always. Lyra found it strange. In her world, young ones looked to the hive. They learned to obey the group. They learned to serve the queen. No one child gave all their attention to just one person. It felt wrong. It felt too strong. One afternoon, Lyra sat down on the floor next to Lily. She tried to speak in simple words her translator made. "Hello, small human. What is your name?" Lily glanced at Lyra for half a second. Then her eyes went right back to Ethan. "Lily," she said quietly. Lyra tried again. "Do you like our ship?" Lily nodded once, but she did not look away from her father. "It's big." Lyra pointed at a floating light orb. "Do you want to touch one?" Lily shook her head. "No, thank you." Lyra waited. Nothing changed. Lily kept watching Ethan. He was showing a Caliph engineer how to twist two wires together without breaking the field. He smiled when the alien understood. Lily smiled too, small and private. Lyra stood up. She felt confused. She walked back to her mother's private rooms. Queen Vera sat on a low seat, looking at star maps. Her robe shimmered green and silver. She looked up when Lyra entered. "Mother," Lyra said. "The small human child. She is strange." The queen turned her head. "In what way?" "She looks only at her father, all the time. She does not look at me, she does not look at you, she does not look at anything else. It is like the rest of the world is not there." Queen Vera's compound eyes clicked softly. "I saw it during the first meeting. I thought it was only shyness. It is focus. Like she trusts him more than anything, more than us, more than the hive." The queen stood up slowly. She walked to a window that looked out at the human ship. "Show me," she said. Lyra led her mother down the hall to the observation lounge. They did not go inside. They stood just outside the open door, hidden in shadow. Inside, Ethan was bent over a table, drawing lines on a clear screen. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor near the window. Her small hands rested in her lap. Her eyes followed every move her father made. When he turned to speak to a Caliph, she leaned forward a little. When he rubbed his eyes because he was tired, she frowned with worry. When he stretched and smiled at something the alien said, Lily smiled too. Queen Vera watched for a long time, 10 minutes, 20, 30. Lily never once turned her head toward the door. She never noticed the queen standing there, tall and powerful, ruler of billions. She never noticed Princess Lyra beside her. She never noticed the guards or the glowing walls. Only Ethan. The queen felt something tight in her chest. It was not fear. It was not anger. It was something she had no name for. A small ache. A question that would not leave her mind. She turned and walked away. Lyra followed. In her private room, Queen Vera sat again. She stared at nothing for a long time. "Why?" she asked quietly. Lyra waited. "Why does one small child give everything to one man? Why not to the whole people? Why not to me?" Lyra had no answer. "I do not know, mother, but it is real. I watched her for days. It never changes." The queen touched her own chest with long fingers. "In our way, the young look to all. They belong to all. Loyalty is wide like the hive. It is strong, but this is narrow. One pair of eyes on one person. What happens if that person fails? What happens if he is gone?" Lyra thought. Maybe she would break. The queen looked at her daughter. "And yet she sits there calm. She is not afraid. She believes he will never fail her." Neither spoke for a while. Later that day, Queen Veyra went back to the lounge alone. She stood in the doorway this time, not hiding. Her tall shape filled the space. Guards stood behind her. Lily did not look up. Ethan noticed the queen. He straightened and bowed his head a little. "Your Majesty, is something wrong?" Queen Veyra stepped inside. She walked slowly to the window. She looked down at Lily. The child still watched her father. Her small face was peaceful. The queen spoke in a low voice. "Child, look at me." Lily heard the words. She blinked. Very slowly she turned her head. Her blue eyes met the queen's many small eyes for 3 full seconds. Then she looked back at Ethan. It was enough. Queen Veyra felt the strange ache again, stronger now. She had ruled for centuries. Armies knelt to her. Planets sent gifts. Worlds feared her name. But this small human child had looked away after only 3 seconds. Because her father was still there. The queen turned to Ethan. "She trusts you completely." Ethan smiled softly. "She's 6. I'm all she has. I try to be enough." Queen Veyra looked at him for a long moment. "You do not command her. You do not demand her eyes. Yet she gives them freely." Ethan shrugged a little. "I just love her. That's all." The queen said nothing more. She turned and left the room. Her robe trailed behind her, like liquid light. That night in her private chambers, Queen Veyra stood alone at a wide window. Stars moved slowly outside. She thought of the small girl and the man she watched. For the first time in her long life, the queen wondered what it would feel like to have someone look at her that way. Not with fear, not with duty, just with quiet, complete trust. She closed her eyes. The question stayed with her, warm and strange. The days turned into a careful peace. Humans and Caliph worked together more each day. They shared meals in a big hall on the alien ship. Tables were long and low. Food came in small glowing bowls, strange fruits that tasted sweet like honey, soft breads that sparkled, and warm drinks that smelled of flowers and metal. On the 4th night, Queen Veyra held a formal banquet. Everyone came. Captain Daniel Hayes wore his best uniform. Ethan Brooks wore a clean gray shirt. Lily sat on his lap because there was no high chair for small humans. She looked tiny next to the tall aliens. The hall was beautiful. Walls shimmered like dark water. Lights floated above like slow stars. Music played, soft sounds like wind through crystal. Caliph sat in perfect rows. Humans sat together near the queen's table. Queen Veyra sat at the head. Her robe was deep red tonight, the color of old blood. Princess Lyra sat beside her, watching everything with bright eyes. Food was served. Ethan cut small pieces for Lily. She ate slowly, always looking up at him to see if he liked it too. She smiled when he nodded. The queen watched them. She had watched every day now. The little girl's eyes never wandered, not to the food, not to the lights, not to the queen herself, only to Ethan. Something inside Queen Veyra grew restless. She could not stop thinking about it. In her long rule, she had seen many strange things, but this quiet bond felt bigger than ships or stars. She stood up. The music stopped. All eyes turned to her. She walked slowly around the long table. Her steps were silent. Everyone watched in silence. She stopped beside Ethan and Lily. Ethan looked up. He stood carefully, holding Lily close. "Your Majesty," he said with respect. Queen Vera looked down at the child. Lily looked up at her father. She did not look at the Queen. The Queen's voice was clear and strong. It carried across the whole hall. "Why are my daughter's eyes always on you?" The room became very quiet. No one moved. Captain Hayes looked surprised. Princess Lyra leaned forward. Everyone thought the Queen meant Princess Lyra. Lyra had watched Ethan a lot lately. She asked him questions. She stood near him during work. Some humans whispered that the princess liked him. But Queen Vera lifted one long finger. She pointed straight at Lily. The child still stared at her father. She held his shirt with small hands. "Not my heir," the Queen said. "This small one, the human child. She looks at no one else. Not me, not my daughter, not my guards, not the lights or the food. Only you. Explain this." Her compound eyes changed color slowly, from blue to deep violet. It was the color she used when she was truly puzzled. Ethan looked down at Lily. He brushed her hair back gently. He spoke in a calm voice. "She's my daughter, Your Majesty. I'm her dad. When you're little, and the world is big and strange, you look at the person who keeps you safe. That's me right now. She knows I'll take care of her, so she watches me. That's all." The Queen tilted her head. Her eyes clicked softly. "That is all?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "For her, yes. Sure 6. She doesn't need to look at queens or ships or stars yet. She just needs to know, I'm here." Lily whispered against his chest. "You're here, Daddy." Ethan smiled. "Yes, sweetheart. Always." Queen Vera stared at them. The whole hall waited. In Caliph life, no one belonged to one person. Children came from the Queen's eggs. Nurses raised them in groups. Soldiers trained them. Everyone served the hive. Loyalty went up, to the Queen, to the Dominion. Never sideways to one single being. The Queen had never seen a child give everything to one man. It felt dangerous. What if that man died? What if he left? The child would have nothing. Yet Lily sat there calm and happy. No fear in her eyes. Only trust. The Queen spoke again, softer now. "In our way, the young look to many. They are never alone. They are part of something bigger. Safe because the hive is strong." Ethan thought for a moment. "Maybe," he said, "but sometimes one person can feel bigger than everything else, at least when you're small." Queen Vera looked at Lily again. The child finally glanced at her, for 2 seconds, then back to Ethan. The Queen felt that strange ache in her chest again, stronger this time. She turned to the room. "Let the feast continue," she said. She walked back to her seat, but she did not sit right away. She stood and watched Ethan lift a small piece of fruit to Lily's mouth. The girl ate it and smiled at him. The music started again. People talked quietly, but the Queen's mind stayed on the small human family. Later, after most had finished eating, Queen Vera called Ethan to a side room. It was small and quiet. Only one light floated above. Lily came too. She would not let go of Ethan's hand. The Queen stood very tall. She looked down at them. "I have ruled for 300 cycles," she said. "I have seen fear, I have seen obedience, I have seen love for the hive, but I have never seen this." She pointed at Lily's eyes, still fixed on Ethan. "What does it mean to you?" she asked him. Ethan thought. "It means I'm doing my job," he said simply. "Being her dad, showing up every day, keeping promises, loving her even when it's hard. She looks at me because she knows that." The Queen looked at Lily. "Child," she said, "do you fear me?" Lily shook her head slowly. "No." "Do you fear my people?" "No." "Then why do you not look at us?" Lily thought. Her voice was small but clear. "Because Daddy is enough." Queen Vera felt something shift inside her, like a crack in old stone. She looked at Ethan. You do not force this trust, she said. You do not command it. No, Ethan answered. You can't force it. You earn it. Every day, with small things. Hugs, stories, being there when she's scared. Telling her the truth. Keeping her safe. The Queen was silent for a long time. Then she spoke words no one expected. I wish to understand more. Ethan nodded. You're welcome to watch, or ask. We're not hiding anything. Queen Vera looked at Lily one more time. The child smiled at her father. Then, very slowly, she looked at the Queen again. This time for 4 seconds. Then back to Ethan. It was the longest she had ever looked at anyone else. Queen Vera felt warm inside, a strange warmth she had no name for. She turned and left the small room. Outside, Princess Lyra waited. Mother, she asked. The Queen did not answer right away. She looked up at the stars through a high window. Perhaps, she said quietly, we have lived too long in groups. Perhaps one heart, looking at one heart, is stronger than we knew. Lyra did not understand yet, but she saw something new in her mother's eyes. Something soft. Something human. The banquet ended late. Humans went back to their ship. Ethan carried Lily in his arms. She fell asleep against his shoulder, still smiling. Queen Vera stood alone in the empty hall. Lights dimmed around her. She thought of small blue eyes. She thought of trust given freely, and for the first time in centuries, she felt small. Not weak, just small, like a child who wanted to be looked at that way too. The next morning started calm. Teams from both ships worked together again. They tested a new link between human reactors and Calith crystal drives. Everything looked good. Engineers smiled. Data screens showed green lines. Ethan Brooks stood at a big console. He checked numbers carefully. Lily sat on a soft mat near the door of the workroom. She played quietly with a small toy spaceship the humans had brought. But her eyes kept going back to her father. Every few minutes, she looked up, smiled, and watched him. Princess Lyra stood nearby. She watched Lily more than the machines now. She saw how calm the child was, how sure. Then it happened. A loud alarm screamed through the Calith ship. Red lights flashed. The floor shook once, hard. A voice came over the speakers in sharp Calith words. Then the translator repeated in English. Warning. Unstable energy surge in human reactor core. Containment failing. Evacuate immediately. Ethan's face changed. He ran to the screen. The numbers were red now. Very bad red. The link test had gone wrong. Something in the crystal matrix had pulled too much power. The Aurora Dawn's reactor was going to explode if they did not stop it fast. Captain Daniel Hayes shouted from the doorway. All humans back to the ship, now. But Ethan did not move. He looked at the data. I can fix this, he said. If I go in now, I can shut down the overload. It's too dangerous, Daniel said. The core room is flooding with radiation. Ethan turned to Lily. She stood up. Her small face looked scared for the first time. But she did not cry. She just stared at him. Stay here with the captain, sweetheart, Ethan said. He knelt and hugged her quick. I'll be right back. Lily shook her head. No, Daddy. I come too. It's not safe. She held his hand tight. I wait outside. I watch. Ethan looked at Daniel. The captain sighed. We don't have time to argue. Take her to the observation deck outside the core room. Guards will stay with her. Ethan picked Lily up. They ran through halls. Calith workers rushed past in the other direction. Alarms kept screaming. They reached the core room. It was a big round chamber with thick glass walls. Inside, blue energy swirled like a storm. Heat came through the door, even when it was closed. Ethan put Lily down on the floor just outside. A small window let her see in. 2 Calith guards stood with her. Daddy will fix it, he told her. You stay right here, okay? Lily nodded. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not let them fall. Okay. Ethan went inside, the door sealed behind him with a heavy sound. Queen Vera arrived minutes later. She came with her elite guards and Princess Lyra. Her robe moved fast as she walked. "What is happening?" she demanded. Captain Hayes explained quickly. "The joint test caused a feedback loop. Ethan's trying to stop the explosion. If he fails, the blast could take both ships." The Queen's eyes turned dark red. "Seal the human ship. Detach it. Let it burn alone. We save our people." Daniel stepped forward. "No, Ethan's in there, and Lily's watching him. You can't just—" The Queen looked through the window. There was Lily, sitting on the cold floor, legs crossed, hands in her lap, eyes fixed on the glass. Inside, Ethan moved fast. He opened panels. He pulled wires. Sweat ran down his face. Sparks flew around him. Lily did not cry. She did not scream. Her small lips moved sometimes, whispering, "You can do it, Daddy." Queen Vera stared. She had seen soldiers face death. She had seen workers die for the hive. But this was different. One tiny child, alone, facing possible loss, and still calm, still believing. Princess Lyra whispered, "Mother, look at her." The Queen did not answer. Inside the core room, Ethan worked harder. His hands shook from heat. A panel exploded near him. He fell back. His arm burned. He got up anyway. Lily pressed her hand to the glass. She did not bang. She just held it there, like she could send strength through it. Minutes passed, long minutes. The alarms grew louder. The energy swirl inside turned white-hot. Queen Vera stepped closer to the window. She watched Ethan. She watched Lily. Then she saw it clear. This was not hive loyalty. This was not duty. This was something deeper. One heart tied to one heart, strong enough to face fire, strong enough to sit and wait without breaking. Ethan reached the last control. His voice came over the speaker, weak but steady. "Almost there. Just one more." He pulled a lever. The white light dimmed. The swirl slowed. Red warnings turned yellow, then green. The alarms stopped. Ethan fell to his knees. Smoke rose from his clothes. His arm looked bad, but he smiled. Weak, tired, happy. The door opened. Medics rushed in. Lily stood up fast. She ran past the guards. She ran to her father as he came out. Ethan dropped to one knee. Lily threw her arms around his legs. She buried her face in his shirt. For the first time since it started, she cried. Relief tears. Ethan held her close with his good arm. "It's okay, sweetheart. I got you." Only then did Lily look up. She looked past her father, straight at Queen Vera. She lifted one small hand. She gave a tiny wave, polite, thankful. The Queen stared. Her compound eyes changed color fast. Blue, gold, soft pink. Colors no one had seen before. She stepped forward slowly. She knelt. Her tall body bent low. Her face came down to Lily's level. No Caliph queen had ever knelt, not in 300 years. Lily looked at her, really looked. The Queen spoke in a quiet voice. "You waited. You believed." Lily nodded. "Daddy always comes back." Queen Vera looked at Ethan. He was hurt, exhausted, but he smiled at his daughter. The Queen felt the ache in her chest turn warm, very warm. She spoke again. "Your father, he risked everything, for you, for all of us." Lily nodded. "That's what daddies do." The Queen looked at her own daughter. Princess Lyra stood close, eyes wide. For the first time, Queen Vera saw something new in Lyra's face. Not just duty, not just respect. Something softer, something curious. The Queen stood up slowly. She turned to Captain Hayes. "The alliance holds, stronger now." Then she looked at Ethan. "You have shown us something we did not know." Ethan shook his head. "I just did what I had to." "No," the Queen said. "You showed us what one bond can do." She looked down at Lily one more time. But now her eyes moved. To the Queen, to Lyra, to the guards. Small steps, but steps. Queen Vera felt something new inside her. Hope. Small, strange, but real. She turned and walked away. Her guards followed. Princess Lyra stayed a moment longer. She looked at Lily. Lily looked back. For the first time, the two girls really saw each other. Lyra smiled, small, shy. Lily smiled back. The crisis was over, but something bigger had begun. In the quiet after the alarms, Queen Vera stood alone on a high deck. She looked at the stars. She thought of small blue eyes that had watched one man through fire. She thought of trust earned every day. And she wondered, for the first time, what it would feel like to earn that look from her own daughter. Not as a queen, just as a mother. The thought stayed with her. Warm, quiet, growing. The days after the reactor crisis felt different. The two ships no longer stayed side by side only for work. They stayed because something new had started between the humans and the Caliph. Something quiet. Something real. Repairs took time. Ethan Brooks spent most days in the medical bay. His burned arm was wrapped in soft white bandages. Caliph healers used strange blue lights to fix the skin faster than human medicine could. Lily never left his side. She sat on a small stool next to his bed. She held his good hand. She watched the healers work. She smiled when they said her daddy would be fine. Queen Vera came to visit often. At first the guards thought it strange. A queen did not visit injured workers. But she came anyway. She stood tall in the doorway. Her robe changed to soft greens and silvers, colors of calm. One afternoon she entered alone. No guards, no princess, just her. Ethan tried to sit up. Lily helped him with small hands. "Your Majesty," he said. The queen raised a hand. "Rest, do not move for me." She walked closer. She looked at Lily first. The child looked back, not for 3 seconds this time, but longer. 5, 6, then back to her father. Queen Vera sat on a low seat near the bed. It was the first time anyone had seen her sit so low, like an equal. "I wish to speak," she said. "Not as queen to human, just to speak." Ethan nodded. "Of course." The queen looked at her own long fingers. She moved them slowly. "For 300 cycles I have ruled," she said. "I give orders, I protect the hive, I make sure every part works together. No one is alone. No one needs to be alone. That is our strength." She paused. "But I saw your child wait outside the core room. She did not scream. She believed you would come back. And you did." Lily listened quietly. She leaned against her father's side. The queen continued. "I have daughters, many. They come from my eggs. They grow in nurseries. Teachers teach them. Guards protect them. I watch from far away. I speak to them in groups. I never kneel to one." She looked at Lily. "I want to learn," she said. "I want to know how to be looked at, the way she looks at you." Ethan thought for a moment. "It's not something you learn in a day," he said gently. "It's something you build, every day. Small things. Listening when she talks, being there when she's scared, keeping your word, showing you care, even when no one else sees." The queen tilted her head. Her compound eyes shifted to warm gold. "Will you let me try?" she asked. "With my own daughter, with Lyra." Ethan smiled. "You don't need my permission. Just start. Be there. Really be there." Queen Vera looked at Lily again. "Child," she said softly, "may I sit closer?" Lily thought, then she nodded. The queen moved her seat nearer. She was still very tall, but now her face was closer to Lily's level. Lily looked at her. Longer this time. 10 seconds. Then she reached out one small hand. She touched one of the queen's iridescent fingers. It felt cool and smooth, like glass, warmed by sun. The queen did not pull away. She let the touch stay. Lily smiled. "You're shiny." Queen Vera made a sound, something like a soft laugh. No one had ever heard a Caliph queen laugh before. "Yes," she said, "I am shiny. Daddy, she's nice." Ethan nodded. "She is." That evening, Queen Vera asked for a private meeting. Not in the big hall, not on the bridge, in a small garden room on her ship. The walls grew living vines with tiny glowing flowers. A soft bench sat in the middle. Water trickled from a stone fountain. She brought only Princess Lyra. Ethan came with Lily. Captain Hayes stayed outside to give them privacy. The Queen sat on the bench. Lyra stood beside her, nervous. Lily walked forward. She looked at Lyra first this time. Really looked. "Hi," Lily said. Lyra blinked. "Hello, Lily." Queen Vera spoke. "Lyra, come, sit with me." Lyra hesitated. Then she sat beside her mother. Close, closer than she had ever sat before. The Queen looked at her daughter. "I have not done this well," she said. "I have been queen, not mother." Lyra's eyes grew wide. "Mother?" "Yes," Queen Vera said. "I want to try, if you will let me." Lyra looked down, then up. "I would like that." Lily watched them. She smiled big. Ethan spoke quietly. "It starts small, just like that." The Queen nodded. They sat together for a long time, not talking much, just being there. Lily showed Lyra her toy spaceship. Lyra showed Lily a small crystal that made light patterns on the wall. They laughed when the lights danced. Queen Vera watched. She did not speak. She just looked, at her daughter, at the human child, at Ethan. When night came, ship night, they stood to leave. Queen Vera knelt again, this time in front of Lyra. "Will you teach me how to be looked at that way?" Lyra's eyes filled with something soft. She reached out. She touched her mother's cheek. "I will try," she said, "if you try too." The Queen closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were bright gold. "Thank you," she whispered. Ethan and Lily walked back to their shuttle. Lily held his good hand. She looked back once. She waved at Lyra. Lyra waved back. On the way, Lily said, "Daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart." "The Queen is learning to be a mommy." Ethan smiled. "Yeah, I think she is." The next morning the two fleets prepared to leave, not to part ways, to travel together, toward neutral space, toward new talks, toward a bigger alliance. On the bridge of the Caliph flagship, Queen Vera stood at the main window. Princess Lyra stood beside her, not behind, beside. They watched the Aurora Dawn move into formation. On the human bridge, Ethan stood with Lily in his arms. His bandages were smaller now. He pointed out the window. "Look," he said, "they're coming with us." Lily smiled. "Because they like us." "Because they learned something," Ethan said. Queen Vera looked at the small family on her view screen. She saw Lily's eyes, still mostly on her father, but now sometimes on others, on Lyra, on the stars, on her. The Queen felt that warmth again, deeper now, like a new part of her heart. She turned to her daughter. "Lyra," she said, "stay close today." "I will, Mother." The Queen looked back at the screen. She thought of small blue eyes that had taught her more than any war or council ever had. She thought of trust, earned, given, kept. And somewhere deep inside her ancient mind, a quiet hope grew stronger. One day, maybe, her daughter would look at her the same way. Not because she was queen, but because she was there. Every day. The fleets moved forward together. Stars stretched ahead. Two peoples, once strangers, now changed. All because one little girl looked at her father and never looked away.